I just wanted to close this out here with a little bit of context around mindful job alignment, what I'm up to, and some exciting new offerings that we have coming up. So, a little bit about my story. I actually have a 30-year career in corporate America and national account management, selling to retailers. Then, for the last 14 years, I've been in software as a service, also related to the retail and CPG industries. Currently, I am with Lee Hecht Harrison as a branding specialist, and I am working on branding resumes for clients of Lee Hecht Harrison, which is an outplacement firm, and I'm also working on mindful job alignment. My story in 5 pictures on this slide. I had about a 15-year odyssey with my mother with Alzheimer's, unfortunately. That is a very long path to tread with a loved one. It was very, very challenging. During that time, as in picture number 2, finances were always out of my grasp. It always felt like there was a lot more outgo than inflow. Alzheimer's is extremely expensive. What also was happening during that time in picture number 3, I was downsized 5 times between 2004 and 2014. I went through outplacement 3 times. The biggest question that I had at that time was why me, which is quite well depicted in that picture, which set me on a journey to really understand and make sense of what was going on. I took a lot of classes. I did a lot of energy work. I studied Reiki. I am a Reiki master teacher. I did a lot of Buddhist philosophy and theology, and also was very active in my church as a professional singer in the choir, and did a lot of reading and a lot of studying. What I was really looking for, which is in picture number 5, was a Zen calmness and to really stabilize my life. I went back to school and completed my doctorate in holistic coaching, and I wrote my doctoral dissertation on a mindful approach to job search, combining the mindfulness techniques along with the tactical steps of job search. I started Mindful Job Alignment in 2022. I am involved in a book on Amazon. It's with Mission Matters, which spotlights entrepreneurs. I wrote chapter 10 and volume 10 of the book, which came out last year. And my chapter is on understanding the caused by career transitions, where I explore quite a few ways to process through the transition and move forward. I have a philosophy about job search that it's not only an external process. I think that's what a lot of people hear about all the time. It really can make us crazy when we're thinking about how many jobs we need to be applying to and keeping in action. But there's also an internal aspect to this, which is body, mind, spirit. There's a lot to be said for reconciling the transition, incorporating mindfulness and gratitude techniques, creating that calm space in the home where you can read, meditate, and journal, creating a value-based job vision, and a job search action plan. I want to talk about a couple thought starters for you to think about. The first one is, do you know how the market is in your industry right now? Do you know how long a job search can last based on the level that you were at in your last position? Do you have a contingency plan in place to be able to weather the time of the transition that you may be facing? Do you have mindset support structures in place? And by that, how are you going to cope with the ups and downs of search? Because as you well know, and as we've been talking about on this call, there are a number of different things happening in a number of different ways that you want to be able to mindfully cope with those stresses. Do you have a stress relief plan in place? Do you know that now, maybe you're not working for a company, but do you know that now you become a walking brand? Yes, you do. You are branding yourself, and it's key to know how to present yourself and to understand what your next action steps need to be in the branding of yourself. There's power in numbers, as we've talked about with the networking. Keep going with your networking. Do you know how to expand and leverage your network for your next position? And what steps are you going to take to increase the networking? Last but not least, would you believe that people do procrastinate in their job search? And the reason is not lack of time. It really has to do with not having a defined plan of how you're going to move forward. An action plan boosts productivity, and it also helps to prevent burnout. What I teach, mindful job alignment, is really an 8-part pathway that can be boiled down into 3 different areas. The first part is mindset, and that really deals with understanding the employment landscape and market, transitioning mentally and emotionally, and then creating the calm space where you're going to be meditating, reading, journaling, and just ideating on your next steps. The second part is all about branding. The values-based personal job vision, a value-aligned career plan, and then your personal brand on resume, LinkedIn, and networking. And the final two steps are all about implementation. I talk about incremental income, how you can make money on the side while you are in your search, networking, action plan, and manifesting the vision within action steps, and then staying motivated to keep the action plan going. So, what I've done is I've distilled all of those steps down into a concise 3-day format, and I have a masterclass that I'm going to be launching the last week of February, 25th, 26th, and 27th. I do it on Zoom, and I limit it to a small crowd of about 30 participants to facilitate good net interaction going on. It's going to run from 11 to 12:30 Central Time, 12 to 1:30 Eastern Time. And what that's going to mean is that 1 hour of that is going to be content. And then I've added on another 30 minutes optional if people would like to network, ask questions, whatever, so that we're not rushed. Day one on Tuesday is going to be all about the mindset. We're going to talk about state of the market. We're going to talk about statistics on how long you could potentially be out of work, reconcile the transition, and talk about these coping strategies and mindset. And yes, there is a little bit of homework to make lists and do some soul searching and do a brain dump of where you're at. Day two is all about branding. We're going to talk about your personal values and a vision for those values and how you want your job to look. Resume, all about the ATS format and how you need to have your resume formatted accordingly to make it through those systems so that they will accurately read your resume and not see a blank piece of paper. We're going to talk about LinkedIn, and we're going to talk about a posting strategy for you to be connecting with the proper people in your search. There'll be a little bit of homework after that. Day three is all about implementation. My favorite subject, which is incremental income during your job search, ways to make extra money, networking, action plan, motivational steps, and then we have graduation. It's a chance to build your mindset, resume, LinkedIn, and income plan in 3 hours. I want to give you a little more detail about this. I am doing this for a very reasonable price of $67 for all 3 days, plus networking. And I want to point out that there are a lot of bonuses that you're going to get with this. There's a video recording of each day, which is posted and which you will have access to for a lifetime, not just 48 or 72 hours. There's a resource workbook for each day where I've got it filled with websites, checklists, things like that to be used as a resource in your search. The values test is a test that we take. It's very quick, but you will have that. The Excel format daily action plan, which has formulas in it where you can put in goals for every day. It's by section. So there's a part for the administrative piece of job search, there's a part for networking, there's a part for interviewing, targeted companies, contacting people, plus there's an entire section on the stress relief techniques and tracking those. There'll be PDFs of each day's presentation, and the caveat that I want to make on this is I've got presentations that are between 40 and 60 pages long, and it's not just one picture on a page. There's tangible, very actionable information on each one of those slides, and you will get a copy of the entire thing in PDF. Certificate of completion, which you can put on your LinkedIn profile under certifications, and you will have lifetime access for all of the above. I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you in this masterclass, and I think we have a couple people on the call that were in the last class. And I think Sherilyn, I think you're on the call.
Yes, my name is Sherilyn Sharoyan out of Minnetonka, Minnesota, and I was on Diana's master class. What I really got out of the class was the information she shared with us on so many different topics and so many different levels in a very palatable way. It wasn't overwhelming. It was very palatable, but I thought she did a wonderful job of creating a community because what I'm learning through my job search is it takes a community.
Mhm.
Since being involved with Diana and meeting her a couple of months ago, I don't feel so alone. To one of slides, why me? It's not me. It's just the job market. I really appreciated what the community Diana has created. And I'll close out on the fact each of our session, people stayed online to network and share resources and ask questions. Nobody dropped off early. People were really engaged, and I was really impressed with that. Thumbs up to Diana.
Thank you.
I highly recommend her class, her classes. Mhm.
Thank you. There's a
Certainly.
QR code on the bottom here you can scan. And I just want to remind you that even though sometimes it feels like it, your job transition does not need to hurt.